Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, your favorite automotive show where we tackle all the issues that affect the customer experience at your stores. Because the greater the customer experience, the more people come back. They'll come to you, they'll bring their friends, their family members, the people they work with, their church buds, everybody for everything they need when they need it. And weekly, we bring on the experts to share with us what they do or what they've done to help you get better at what you're trying to get done at your store. And I'm very fortunate because I have a great network and everybody brings a tremendous amount of value. And we try to cover the things that most others are not talking about because we want to bring you value. And this week is no exception because we have from the Carter Myers group, Beth Lucchesi and Judi Anderson. Welcome, ladies.
Hey. Thank you so much for having us, Paul. We're excited to be here.
So excited.
So, for the one or two folks that might not know you, starting with you, Beth, why don't you give us a brief history of how you got to this point after fifth grade? And then Judi, if you would do the same.
Well, like many people in the car industry, Paul, I fell into a job with CMA at 17 and I never looked back. And I've been in my current role as talent acquisition specialist for a little over 2 years. And let me tell you, it's the best job there is.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So I used to be in a marketing position where I was driving traffic in, and my passion is keeping customers and treating them right and finding a way to make sure that they never go somewhere else. And so now I'm in a retention role. So my focus is on the customer. And so I am 100% focused on that at CMA. And it's the best role. It's a dream role.
Excellent. Well, welcome to you as well.
Thank you.
I want to give a disclaimer before we get started. There is a persistent issue somewhere between LinkedIn and StreamYard, and they have not been able to figure it out yet. So sometimes we have someone that will make a comment on LinkedIn that doesn't show up in the platform. So if we don't see your comment, it's not that we're ignoring you. It's not showing up in the platform, and it will show up after the show goes off the air. So if we're not responding to you, we haven't experienced as much of that on Facebook. If you do if you don't see your comments come through, or we don't respond to you, you could try to look at the stream on Dealer Vendor Match on Facebook. In that page that Mike Vogel discovered last week, that seems to work a little bit better. Or you can always text us or send a message through LinkedIn Messenger because we don't want to miss any of your comments and we want to make sure that we answer all of the questions that are important to you. So let me get to a couple of comments. Starting us off, we have Roger Conant, our friend from down south and over the other side. Says, don't want to miss this. Everyone who is someone is already here. And at the time, he was the only one here. So, and he asked all the issues? Well, most of the issues. And we have Jamie Alexander. Hi, all. She's on the West Coast, Northwest. Michael Weldon from California. And Phil Spagnoli. Hey, everyone. He and I have been chatting lately. Interesting guy. And Roger Conant says, hello from Houston. All right. Again, if we don't respond, it's because we didn't see your comment. So message us or go on Dealer Vendor Match page on the Facebook. Right. So the first thing we want to start with, because things have changed quite a bit. I've been in this business for a long time. And, the way we recruit and with the talent crunch, it's quite different than it was. What are you ladies seeing as it relates to that?
Well, at CMA, we try to take a broad scope and look at recruiting. And we are all, those of us that have been in the car business for a while, we all know that there's a serious negative perception of the car business. Everybody thinks about kind of the cheesy salesperson trying to upsell you the lemon on the lot. And then there's, the perception of the technician, right, who's covered in grease and oil and never sees the light of day. And these perceptions are left over from bygones, right, 40, 50 years ago. And so we are working every day to shift the perception in automotive, right? To shift from that's what you do when you can't get another job to that's what you do because you're passionate about it and you're good at it and you have value and talent and there's a career path. And this is where what Judi does in customer engagement is so important and ties into recruiting, because having a focus on that outstanding and uncommon customer experience every time helps shift the public perception of working in automotive. And that's kind of our starting point. And when you think about how we recruit and where we recruit, it probably looks very differently than it did even 5 years ago. I spend probably 50 or more % of my time in schools, not only in high schools and in trade schools, but in elementary schools doing STEM projects, in middle schools talking about different career paths for variable operations or fixed operations. I spend time in colleges. Actually, that's a new focus for 2024, and talking about the positions within the automotive industry from higher ed, like accounting and payroll and HR, and our corporate positions, but as well as our less traditional positions. You know, thinking of what an EV technician looks like is very different from what a traditional ICE technician looks like. So I spend most of my time in the community talking about career paths and opportunities and what today's automotive opportunity looks like.
You know, I have to say, I am impressed every time I see, you know, you guys take it seriously. And we had the pleasure of seeing each other last summer. I was involved in a hiring and retention workshop. And it was great to see you ladies. And just the way you approach things, right? You can't have customer retention without employee retention. And what you guys put together in your training and onboarding, it really is second to none. I mean, it's a focus that you really concentrate on that core group and make sure that they're well equipped to take care of the people that are going to be coming in front of them.
Well, and I'll tag team off of Beth. That's why we work so well together. One of our biggest focuses is empathy. And we want to make sure that anybody that is even coming into our four walls has a culture fit, that they are empathetic and that they care about the customer and they're in a hospitality mindset. And, you know, that's different than the way it used to be. Like Beth said, 100,000 years ago in the auto industry, it wasn't like that. And that's super important to us. And so when she's out there and she's, you know, boots on the ground and she's, you know, representing CMA, she's the best example that we have of somebody who is like, we want somebody to be, you know, like this, and bring her in, you know, anybody into our industry. So it's a whole different mindset. And so we're building a culture right now that people that are a culture fit, and it works.
And another thing that I love too is that you're proactively reaching out. You're part of the school systems. They know who you are because you participate with them, and you're always scouting for talent, but not just from a I need people standpoint. It's from a, you know what, automotive is an incredible business. It's been very good to me for many decades, and most of the people that I know in it just absolutely love it. So you give opportunities to people that maybe don't even know what automotive is about. You know, that's the part that I love, because you're literally changing lives in what you guys are doing.
You know, we had a very unique opportunity in February of this year, Paul, and we had the opportunity to meet with guidance counselors in one of our markets for elementary, middle, and high schoolers. So I had the opportunity to meet with all the guidance counselors as a group and share my story of what my life experience was as I was graduating high school and trying to think about those next steps, and what automotive and transportation was able to provide for me throughout my entire career, supporting me when I did decide to go to college, but welcoming me teaching me and pouring into me when I wasn't ready to go to college and providing me an amazing career opportunity. And the counselors had such a great response because their previous experience to automotive was buying cars.
Right. And that's all they knew.
That's all they knew. And it was a fantastic opportunity. So a goal for this year is to reach as many guidance counselors as possible and share that message because it's important.
You catch them early, right?
Yes.
You catch them when they're impressionable. You bring the story to them and you get them interested in it, because a lot of the kids today, they're into video games and things like that. They may not even realize how that plays into automotive with the technology that's out there. And one of the other things I really love about what you guys do is you're proactive in your recruiting, but you do it in such a holistic way that you're an ecosystem. You have accounting department, you have sales department, you have parts department, you have all these departments within your company, and you're constantly trying to place the right person in the right role. And sometimes you find out afterwards, well, you know what? Maybe that's not the right role for them, but here, we've got another spot here. And you move them around so that everybody benefits from it. And just not to blow your horn, but.
Oh, I don't know if you're aware of what we're doing right now at CMA, but we're doing a strength finders. Like it's a whole assessment of everyone at CMA, and it's doing exactly what you said. It's finding out like what your top 5 strengths are, and everyone knows about it with the Gallup strengths finders. But that's exactly it. It's like, what are you good at? Are you like pursuing what you're good at? We don't want to look at what you're not good at, because let's just like build and support and strengthen what you're good at. And are you in the right position? Are you where you should be? And if not, maybe there's another place for you with us. But exactly what you said, and that's important.
Oh, it's huge, because if there's a harmony because everybody's happy, man, that's stronger than garlic. Let me get to a couple of comments here. I don't like to get too far behind. Russell B. Hill, hello, Paul, Beth, and Judy. Let's go and grow. Jamie Alexander says, yes, get the great things about this industry out. And my buddy Larry Feldman, my wife and I traveled to Pennsylvania to see him play in a band. For those that don't know, Larry is an accomplished musician in an incredible rock band. Well worth the trip. We stayed in a hotel just so we could hang out with Larry, his wife, and the rest of the band. It was awesome. It's great to see you, Larry. Roger Conant says, if I didn't live so far away from CMA, wouldn't have recruited me. If I didn't live so far away, CMA wouldn't have to recruit me. I'd be recruiting them. No joke. Phil Spignoli, no panic hiring. I love it. And Tamrat Y says, good. All right. So another thing that's changed quite a bit is the workplace seems to be a little bit more dynamic, and we seem to be a little bit more focused on embracing diversity. Now, I know from the workshops that I've done, diversity is important, right? Because everybody can't look like the same widget. You have a body of customers coming in that represents various different demographics, ages, religions, ethnic backgrounds, all of that. And, how do you guys deal with trying to match up mirroring your customers? How's that working?
Well, it's a challenge, Paul. I mean, as many of us know, automotive for a long time has been an old boys club, and diversity is super important to us at CMA. We want the folks within our stores to be a reflection of our stores and the community where our stores are. However, we don't want to just go willy-nilly hiring different people for different cultures. It still needs to be a culture fit with kind of our mantra. There are 3 tenets that we live by every day at CMA, and it's putting people first. Right? In every decision that we make, we put people first, and we want to create solutions where everyone wins. And sometimes that means it takes us longer. Sometimes we have to create something new, so that everybody walks away satisfied and positive about the experience. And then lastly, we are always moving forward, but never straight. Straight implies tunnel vision. And we want to have a very wide vision. We want to have a broad experience. And so when we're recruiting, we are looking for people that think like that. Judi mentioned a moment ago, like-hearted, like-minded. So whatever their shell looks like doesn't really matter. We're looking for that right culture fit. Rally is very, very enthusiastic about culture fit. And that starts with recruiting, right? So spending time in these schools and at different career fairs and creating different programs that attract different candidates, right? So Liza Borges, our CEO, she and I had a conversation a couple of years ago, and it really stuck with me that if we look at who is currently in our stores at our starting point, and who would we like to see representing CMA within our stores? Now, what are the barriers to those people coming into the automotive industry? It's not just coming into our stores, it's coming into our industry. And we think about women. It's very challenging for women who may be mothers or caregivers, and the schedule is daunting. So we have general managers working with our HR teams and diligently making different schedules and trying different things. Some things don't work, but some things do. And we are working to identify the barriers to entering the automotive space and removing them. So that's kind of our starting point. And it's going to be an ongoing, ever-changing approach. And it's going to be different. It's going to look different from one market to the next and possibly from one store to the next. But I think awareness is the main key. We know what we want to do. We know where we want to go, and we're going to get there.
Well, you've certainly got the right attitude for it, and that's from the top down. There's an old Italian saying, the fish stinks from the head. And I got to tell you, I haven't seen too many more involved leaders than Liza Borges in leading that team. You know, she is 1,000% invested in the success of everybody. Phil Spagnoli says, yes, Liza is so amazing. Buy a daycare. Get your amazing women in here. You guys have a daycare?
We don't. No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, we have a lot of dogs in our dealerships, though. We do. Yeah, definitely a lot of dogs.
I'll share with you. I was at a dealership where they have a daycare center, which is really, really cool, with cameras, and parents can remote in and things like that. You know, you guys do so much. You know what the problem is? There are only 24 hours in a day.
Yes, that is a problem. Judi has that problem every week.
It's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I feel like I have more hours in my week than most. I think there's more. There's more. If you look,
find it.
Yeah.
Sleep is overrated, right? So, I guess everybody ideally would like to be the choice employee, right? The place that everybody wants to work. And that's, you know, like the recruiting, that's constant work. How do you guys, I mean, we shared a lot of that already, but are there any particular cheats you can share with us?
I don't know that they're necessarily cheats, but I was actually listening to a podcast earlier today on my way home from the dog park, and it kind of resonated with some of the things that we do at CMA. And the podcast was Pat Lencioni from The Working Genius talking about the Normal brand. And I don't know if anybody is familiar with their company. I think they're a clothing line. I'd never heard of them before today. And they don't do anything outstanding. They make clothes for regular guys and girls. But what they do, they focus on doing the basics very well. And I think CMA has attention on all the right things. Judi mentioned we are becoming a strengths-based organization. So when we're talking to candidates, and whether it's me in recruiting or anyone, because everyone at CMA is involved in recruiting to a certain extent, right? We love what we do, and we are committed to our brand, and we want to share that with people who will benefit, that will also benefit the company, right? So we're always talking about the different things that we have to offer. Now, one of our largest differentiators is our ESOP. We are an ESOP company, so we are family and employee owned since I think the late 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact year, so but we are all tied together in a way that is different, I think, from a lot of organizations, because we all benefit. When someone does well, it benefits us all. It benefits our customers. It benefits our communities because we're able to give back, and it benefits us personally from the company growth. So being invested personally in the success of not only our job, but our team and the organization as a whole, I think is a very welcoming and intriguing mindset to a candidate. Having specific and dedicated career paths, no matter what department you're looking at, is hugely impactful. The generation, the younger generation that's kind of coming into the workforce now is looking for structure. They want to come in and rule the world because they're ready. You know, they're at that age. And you gently let them know that you're not ready to rule the world, but here are the steps to get you where you're talking about this. And this is about how long it's going to take. You achieve these things, and this is where you're going to be. And it's fantastic, and it's empowering to them, and they get engaged, and they are engaged not only in their development, but in the growth of the company. So using strengths to identify where you should be and how to capitalize on your natural behaviors to empower you to growth, it is phenomenal. And then from a leadership standpoint, our leadership, Liza and Matt Walsh and Rich Tritel, are constantly looking for ways to show appreciation to different positions within the company. A few years ago, we implemented something. One of our markets was doing a technician appreciation bonus. And I'm not sure if this is popular throughout the United States, but for all of our flat rate technicians, for every hour they turn, $1 is set aside in a separate account. It's not taken away, but it's added to, and they get it towards the end of the year. And it's just a thank you for a great job and for staying with CMA and for being part of something bigger. And when we realized we were doing this in one market, we found a way to copy it to all of our markets. And that's a great talking point for me when I'm talking to a technician who's considering making a change, because that's a big thing.
That's
to
huge.
leave what you know as a technician and go to an unknown, and being able to share ownership in the company within a year. An appreciation.
That's mind-blowing. You want to know something?
Your CEO is looking for ways to say thank you.
That's incredible. I love that concept. In my opinion, is brilliant. Okay. In the training that I do, I always go to, it's so important for everyone to know their value to themselves as it relates to the company. It's important to know what their value is to their coworkers and vice versa, because it's only when we understand the value we all bring to the organization can we all flourish. Now, as an owner, and they're all owners, you take a certain level of pride that goes beyond the employee, right? It goes well beyond the employee. And it's funny when you say you focus on doing the basics well. I laugh every time I see a post on LinkedIn or some other online forum where they say, you know what, they go through their struggles and they say, you know what, we need to get back to basics. I put out a video months ago, and I said, you know what, instead of going back to basics, why don't we stay at basics, which is what you guys focus on. and you focus on being so good at the basics that you don't stray and you don't lose your way along the way.
I think, Paul, I'm going to jump in. I was attracted to CMA because the basics come easy. When you look at Liza and you look at Matt, and she brought up Rich and our whole leadership team, Chris, who's a new HR, he's head of our people team. It's like, it's so easy. And when you look at social media and you watch CMA, it's so inviting to join that team because they embrace and they're leading by example. And so you're drawn into it, and it's in real time. It's not, oh, we're going to do this down the road. We're doing this right now today. We're going to recognize these employees doing this. And so it's, I heard it was just last week, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was like, we don't have scary Mondays at CMA. We literally like jump in on a Monday and we're happy to be there because we are surrounded by like-minded, big-hearted, empathetic, people that are all the same type. And so it's very cool. It's real. It's not fake.
Speaking of people that are the same type, I was so happy when I was at NADA. I got to meet in person and shake hands and give a hug to Robert Migliaccio.
Yes. Is he here? He should be here with us. I think
he's here. He says, hello, CMA.
Yes, Rob. Yeah, so Rob is a very close friend of Beth and I.
Yes.
We're in.
Awesome guy.
Yes.
Awesome guy. I heard somebody call my name. I look over and like, hey, that's the guy. Let me get to a couple of comments.
That is what our work life is like. Like, we are surrounded with that. And it's so much fun.
I see it. I love watching the posts. I live in social media between the different verticals that I'm in. I'm always on the go. And I make it a point to follow the right people. And you guys are definitely the right people because I like what you're doing and I share that with others along the way. Let me get to a couple of comments. Phil Spagnoli says, get you amazing women in here. Jamie Alexander, amazing culture and missions. Robert Migliaccio says, hello, CMA.
Yes, Rob.
Yay.
Rob.
And Phil said yes to something, but I'm not sure what that something was. Jamie Alexander says, take care of the technicians. Love that. Oh, I'm going to follow up on that in just a moment here. And Phil Spagnoli says, how the heck did you leave it? Back to what? I think he's talking about the basics. He says, you don't find any drama or bad employees speaking from CMA ever. That's a very good point. I have not seen that in the several years. I think I became aware of your organization about 5 years ago. And Phil, I can agree with you. Yeah, never. Robert Migliaccio says, lead from the front. The culture is what brought me to CMA. So the follow-up that I wanted to, one more comment. Roger Conant, who says women aren't drawn to EVs? Ask Judy about her own EV. We're going to get to your EV part.
Oh my God.
Momentarily.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you, with so much focus on the right people in the right positions and career path and making sure that everybody really lands in the best place for them at that particular time. And I realize that over time, those roles may shift and probably do shift.
Absolutely.
Because we're living beings, we're growing, we're learning new things, and we don't know what we don't know, but when we learn something new, we may be more drawn to it. So can you give us kind of a sneak peek at the onboarding? Some of the best practices that you've found?
Absolutely. We're actually, it's a hot button for us because we want to make sure that all of the things that we talk about that draw a new associate to join CMA actually happen. And in the day-to-day craziness that exists within a dealership, within every dealership, sometimes things can get lost along the way. So one of the things that we have implemented, we're in the process of implementing for 2024, is creating a new position of an onboarding manager. And this person's primary responsibility will be to follow new associates for all 23 stores through their first 90 days. So we're very excited about this. But in the interim, over the last year, we have put into practice a couple of different things. We learned that there's a little bit of a lag time between an associate accepting a position and them actually starting. Many they want to give 2 weeks notice, which we respect. Then there's all of your paperwork, and, with a technician, it's moving a toolbox, and perhaps someone is relocating. So there's a time span in between accepting a position and your first day. So there's a couple of things that we focus on. Number one, our people team works very closely with our hiring managers in every department to make sure that everything is ready for that first day, whether it's access to computer systems or your email or your spot in the shop. Whatever it is that is important for you to come in and get right to it is going to be ready for you. So that's one thing. Day one, not day two.
That shows commitment. That shows a tremendous amount of commitment on your side of things to the new person coming in, because how many times do you go into a store and you see the new person just kind of trailing somebody? You have logins? No. Well, how long have you been here? 2 weeks. Day one.
From knowing where to park your car and where the lunchroom is to having everything ready to go. So that's a tremendous commitment, and kudos to our amazing people team, Francis and Raleigh, because they spearhead most of that. But I get them there.
It's huge.
But we have also been sharing feedback from new associates with our hiring managers that it is important to talk to our new candidates before they get here. Keep in touch. What do you need? What can I do to make things easy? Do you need help getting here? Are you ready? We have their name tag. We're going to have everything set up at CMA, but just check in. Are you ready? Do you have any questions? And whether it's somebody on the recruiting team or the hiring manager, we're trying to check in every few days. It might even just be a text message. We're so excited. We can't wait for you to get here. Can't wait for one of my follow-ups is, I can't wait to meet you in person, because frequently I don't. Our interactions are often virtual. So I'm looking forward to seeing you on campus. Can't wait to meet you in person. Your whole team is so excited. And we just try to touch base because we want them to feel welcomed from the time they accept that position. We want them to know how excited we are that they chose us.
A lot of what we're learning as it relates to the customer experience is setting them up for success. And so we've been we're like, all right, so we're not doing very much here. And then you look back at it and it's like, okay, maybe we did not onboard them in the right way. We set them up, here you are, here's your job, but maybe they didn't get trained. Maybe they were working with OEM training for a week solid, but didn't, get to know the store. So what Beth is doing is what we need. Like, we cannot provide that customer experience if they're not empowered and trained and doing everything in the right order. So she's doing a great job with that.
And it sounds like you guys take ownership and responsibility that, hey, maybe I missed something.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not, that's a type of self-awareness that very, very few individuals possess today.
Yeah.
Especially in automotive. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Well, and you don't know where they're coming from. Like, some of them are coming within our four walls and they're moving into a position. Some are coming from a whole different industry. So they have, no experience in auto, or maybe they're coming from Napa, who knows? But, you come into this industry, there's so many different needs in that first week or two. And so Beth is doing a great job of addressing what that need is and making sure that they're set up for success. It's a huge focus for us.
I love it. We get to a couple of comments. And then we'll jump into Roger kicked them here.
Oh, Roger. Yes.
Russell Hill says, great stuff. Thank you, Russell.
Russell.
Hello, all. And Phil Spagnoli says, this is how every store, I'm going to highlight this one. This is how every store needs to be. Onboarding is a must-have. Some stores, a new hire. Okay, there's your seat and login. Ask Bob to help you. Yeah, that's a whole nother world. There isn't. You know what? I liken it to. Don't just say it's over there. Allow me to guide you, and you bring them there to make sure that you achieve the end goal, that they get to where they want to go to. That's so huge.
In my training, I say they're on all of our OEM surveys when they say, did we help you get here? Did we help you get there? There's no points for pointing. You get no points for pointing.
Zero.
Yep. 0 points.
Phil Spagnoli says, I talked to a new service advisor today, 8 days on the job, 1/2 of a day sort of training. I got to highlight this one. And now he's being told he might not make it. Come on. This is so bad. Come on. There's no self-awareness on that team right there whatsoever, that they would set somebody up to fail when it's so difficult for so many to get them to begin with. You do all this work, you spend all this money. A lot of dealers spend $6,000 a month on places like Indeed and other places to not even evaluate the candidates or respond to them or even match up the right ones. I mystery shop employers sometimes because I like to kind of know all the pieces. And let me tell you, some of the stuff that you see out there is crazy. You'll have somebody put out an ad for a service manager, and the store, if they respond days later, will say, well, what we're really looking for is technicians. Well, then why would you put a service manager ad out there and spend money on it if you're really looking for technicians? I mean, there's no thought process in that one. But I don't want to get too far off track. So, Judi, we would love to know about your EV and your EV experience.
Do you want me to take you in my garage so you can see a tour of? I'm so happy with my EV. I could not be happier. I'll recommend it to all my friends. It took me a year to do it, but I'm in. Yeah.
Was it a big struggle mentally to make that change when you get past the all of the things that they scare you about EVs, the range anxiety and all the other things? I'm not saying it's not all real, but some of it isn't as real as they portray it to be, right? So kind of walk us through your thought process on how you made the change.
It was a year ago, and I was driving a Ford Edge. And Beth, you know it because
I do. I still have one.
We're twins. So I was buying gas. I was doing all the things that everybody does that has a Ford Edge. And I lead our sustainability efforts at CMA. So in my head, I'm thinking, I should probably, yes, Rob, I know. So I threw it out to CMA. I'm like, all right, I'm leading our sustainability efforts. I should probably be driving a sustainable vehicle. But I also wanted to be smart and do the right thing for me. I'm a single woman. I live alone, don't have a charger in my house. And, I drive a lot. We have 23 dealerships. And like Beth, we're on the road. So I was just trying to figure out the best choice for me. And what I love about this, and Roger, you'll know this, it's like we're just trying to figure out what the right fit is for us right now today. Is it a hybrid? Is it an EV? Is it, whatever it is? And I didn't know what that right fit was. And so it took me, I would say 9 months to figure out what the right fit was. And so to be honest, it was a lease deal with Nissan. That was a 12-month lease that gave me an option to get out at the end. I'm like, all right, I can try it. I'm not locked in. I can give it a whirl. We can see how the battery ages. So all the anxiety that everyone has with, what's going to happen with, the retail value of this in 1 year. And so I felt like it was a good fit for me. And I am in love with the vehicle. It drives beautiful. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just the idea of it, I think, is amazing, and it's the right fit for me. So I'm very happy.
So one might say you turned over a new leaf.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get a leaf, though. I did not get a leaf. But I think what's great about it and what I love about what I'm doing at CMA with all of our education with EVs is to just understand what the right fit is for everyone. And I think the EVs are falling in line with a whole line of vehicles that can be a choice for everyone, whatever it is. It could be an SUV, it can be an EV, it can be a hybrid, it can be, whatever. So so it's the right fit for me and I'm happy.
I love the 12-month concept.
Yeah.
And you know what? I happen to know my good friend, John Ellis and BEV Everything.
Yep.
And CMA have a partnership.
We do.
And the education is so critical.
It is.
I don't care if you're for or against EVs.
Yep.
I really don't. What I care about is they're on your lot and there are more coming.
Yep.
And you're paying interest on them. And these are not inexpensive vehicles in many cases.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to at least embrace that they're here. That's Oreo meowing in the background. Hey, it's the showtime, boy. You gotta pipe down here. We need to at least embrace what's here, what's coming, and figure out ways to present it to customers in such a way that they make the best decision for them. And you know what? There's a lot of Judis out there, believe it or not. There's a lot of Judis.
I am a huge example of a lot of women out there and probably men too, but the anxiety is there. It is, but I'm over it. I went over the hump. I'm I feel pretty in the vehicle. It's beautiful. It drives great like EVs do. And I've not paid for gas, for 6 months. And I have a charger in my garage. So
initially you didn't have one. So how long did you go without having a charger at home?
I got one right away. I did.
Okay.
And what's super cool about it is so I hired a company that came in, they installed it, and you have to go through the county and have it approved. And so they came to my garage and I opened up the garage door and I was waiting for them to approve it. And they went right to the car and they're like, wow, is this the first one in your county? So I thought they were talking about charger. I'm like, oh, am I the first one that got a EV charger in the county? And they're looking at the vehicle. I was the first one at the vehicle. No one else has one vehicle in our county because, they're just not around.
What did you get, if I may ask?
It's the Nissan Aria.
Okay.
I don't know of anybody else that has one where I live. There's a couple other ones driving around in Charlottesville, but yeah, I'm the only one that has one here. So.
And how many miles do you drive per year, roughly?
I've been driving about 22. This one gives me 15 for the year, but it's only 10 cents a mile if I go over.
10 cents. Wow, that's great.
Which is no big
deal. A lot of times the no mileage leases are 25 cents a mile,
Yeah.
10 cents, that's nothing really.
That's no
Let
big
me get to a couple of comments.
Okay.
Greg Dudley says leasing is the way to go with EVs.
Yep.
I like that because of the uncertainty of the residual value and the actual market value. That's certainly a way to guarantee knowing what your expenditure is going to be. Roger Connon says, I discovered at NADA that women adoption of EVs is growing. More on that soon, coming soon. Greg Dudley says, what are your thoughts in today's workplace to have and maintain your personal brand for career success? Meow. Oh, he's talking to Oreo with the meow, not the other question.
Let's go back to the lease. I think that's the best way to go. I was worried because there is uncertainty on the value of the EVs as we move forward. So for me personally, especially with range anxiety, which exists and it keeps growing, to know that, next October I can trade it in and that maybe there's going to be something, bigger and greater. And that's just reality for me to know that I have that option. So
No, I think he's talking about something a little different, not an EV thing here. Greg's question is, what is your thought in today's marketplace to have and maintain your personal brand for career success? So I think what he's referring to is a lot of times, we all talk about being different in our roles. Why should somebody buy from me when there's 800 some odd people selling the same vehicle, right? So there are people that have their own brand, so to speak, within the dealership. Okay. Now you guys have a strong brand as a company, and I really feel that everybody pulls the rope in the exact same direction. So I guess his was just kind of a question is, do you have a feeling one way or another regarding one's personal brand, or is everyone pretty much geared towards the community brand because they're all owners?
So I think Judi and I probably both have a comment on this. And pardon me, Judi, for jumping in first, but we're celebrating 100 years in business this year. And since we opened that first store down in Petersburg, Virginia in 1924, putting people first has always been important. And while everyone at CMA, there's a little over 1,100 of us, and we are all encouraged to be who we are, to be individuals. We all have different strengths and different gifts and things that allow us to be great humans and to do our jobs really well. But we do it within the tenets of the organization. And we're able to be successful because the company values match our personal values. And when you find an associate whose personal values align with the company values, and you can both grow together, then that's our secret sauce, right? Each of us commits to learning something every day. We commit 10 minutes a day to personal growth. And it's different for everybody. I love to read. I am a reader. I love to read. And when I have travel days and I don't have time to read a book, I listen to an audiobook. But everyone learns differently. So we all have the opportunity to learn in a way that speaks to us. Maybe it's listening to a podcast, participating in a show like this. It could be attending a seminar, or even having a conversation with someone within the company whose job maybe you don't understand and you'd like to know more about that. Learning comes in so many different ways. Those are just a few. And we try every day to learn something new and then to apply it going forward so we retain it. And in giving us permission to be who we are, I think it allows us to put our best foot forward every single day. And so we don't have to worry so much about what our personal brand or the company brand looks like, because we live it.
Yeah.
We're committed to being who we are. So
and
that's kind of my take on
it. To that, it's like we have so much of an attachment because we're all culture fits together. And as we add new associates, their culture fits, and there is a peace amongst all of us in who we are and being ourselves and embracing that and actually pushing us to be ourselves. So with this strengths assessment that I talked about, so one of my top, strengths is being empathetic. A long time ago, that wasn't cool to be like empathetic and emotional and all the things, especially as a woman. But now we're embraced to be that way and to, move forward and to strengthen that. And so we have a group of associates, 1,200 of us, who are being embraced to be ourselves. And we're all culture fits together, and it doesn't go away. It's consistent. And so that's a piece that if anyone wants to come and work with us or be a customer with us or be a part of our family, it's consistent. It's not going away. And so I think that that's contagious. And that's our secret sauce. Double secret sauce.
Double secret sauce.
Yeah.
So when I rephrased the question, I kind of had it in the second piece of it then.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of comments, and then I want to get to the EV part of it, because that's I can get really charged up about that one. Roger Conant says, All right. I'm a dad of 2 daughters. I have a lot of dad jokes. Okay. It's part of the territory. Roger says, hooray for CMA and BEV everything. I double that. Phil Spignoli says, my wife said, hurry up and buy her a dancing Tesla. Okay, wife, I'll get it. He says, if people are not first, then I guess the store will be selling soon. And Robert Migliaccio, I'm third secret. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, wait, is he the third secret sauce? We do have a group of us. We're a tight group of secret saucers. He's
So
in it.
now, EVs, that's the white elephant in the room for a lot of people. You guys have embraced it by teaming up with John Ellis and his team at BEV Everything. You've certainly taken 5 steps more than a lot of other people have. And talk to me a little bit about how that looks for you guys. Like, what was it? When did you come to the realization that, hey, you know what? We really kind of need to get on board with this EV thing. And when, John's got a powerful product. Talk to us, how did you guys come to the realization, and how do the boot camps work, and what did people get out of those?
So 2 years ago, not this past summer, but the summer before, Liza was like, we want to be the go-to for EVs. We want to be the educators. Anyone has a question, come to CMA and ask us a question and we'll have the answers. So 2 summers ago, we had a boot camp and we picked a sales associate and a sales manager from each store. So with 23 stores, that gives us a good amount of associates that came to our boot camp. And we all came in a room and we had our plug star, amazing plug star people came in, and we had all these trainers and everybody came in. We got plug star certified. We had our local, trainers and people in Charlottesville or whatever. So everybody was there for a day and we thought, wow, this is pretty cool. We had hats and t-shirts and everything else, but we didn't really do anything with it. We didn't really know what to do with it because EVs weren't really selling then. So flash forward to this past summer, now EVs are coming in, we're starting to sell them and everything else. And we're just like, all right, this is it. And we wanted to be leaders and we wanted to do this before everybody else, but now everybody else is starting to jump on board. And so we did the same. Well, we didn't know, but we're just like, if people are talking about it, we don't want anybody else talking about it. We want to be the ones that are talking about it. So we did, sorry, the same thing again. And then we brought John in and his team. And then we brought Plugstar back in and we had a really, really good day. And John, I don't know if John is here right now, but I know Roger is. It was a great day. And it was doing walk-arounds with EVs. It was doing, just like one-on-ones and, like role plays, on if customers come in and they're not sure what the right fit is and just helping, our associates learn how to have that conversation. And it went really, really well. It was great. So that was a perfect day. And so we stayed in touch with John and we got all of our associates Plugstar certified. And we thought, you know what, we need to keep educating our associates because even if like right now today, everything is kind of like this, we're a little bit flat, we still want to be the leaders. And it doesn't mean that we want everyone to come in and we're going to sell them an EV. We want them to come in and we want to educate them on what the right fit is. And the EV is going to be in the lineup and they can decide what the right fit is for them. And so John and his team has been working with us and we're meeting with them monthly, doing a call, they're training, we have homework and we're doing that. And it's been great. I'm excited. So we're in month 3 of working with them and doing that.
That's so incredible because, EV, I do some training on EVs as well. And I mystery shop and you'd be surprised what's out there. Just a basic conversation many can't have. So I applaud you guys for taking the steps to make sure that your people are equipped to be able to have intelligent conversations with people. Nobody wants to be sold something, but we always want to make the right decision for us, right? And EVs may be more of a decision for more people if they were able to have the right conversations. In your training, the people, your associates, have a better understanding of, hey, what's in it for the customer? Nobody needs to jam anybody, but the customers have questions. And, as I said, I'm in different verticals. Right now, I'm on the reunion committee for my high school reunion, and I'm interviewing caterers. Somehow they picked me for the food part of it. Imagine that. So I'm having conversations with people, but not everybody communicates well. And that's just a caterer. When you're buying a car that's $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 or more, you can't stumble. You can't stutter. If I have a question that's important to me, you need to be able to answer that question to my satisfaction so that I feel as though you guys are the experts.
And I will add,
spending the money.
I will jump in and I will say this because I feel like it's important. So as an EV buyer, our sales associate that I've been working with has done a phenomenal job of following up with me every week. And he is asking me, what are you learning? How is your experience going? Okay, it's, 20 degrees out. What is your experience with your battery? He wants to know because then he can share that with his customers as he's, just talking about it because they have questions. And so I think that is, and so I encourage anybody out there who is selling EVs or who has sold one, talk to your customers after the fact and continue that conversation. Learn as much as you can from them so that you can pass that information on, as you move forward.
What you're doing is you're building a community.
Mm-hmm.
And the communities typically support each other. And as you're having these conversations, these ongoing conversations, what are you learning? You're able to better relay that ownership experience to the next person that may have some of the same fears that you had.
Yeah.
But by you being able to proactively have that conversation and maybe set them at ease, like, wow, you know what? I was thinking about that. And wow, I'm glad they mentioned that. It's like you're covering things that are important to them because let's face it, what's important to one EV owner may be some of those same elements may be important to another one. And it's all in the conversation that we have.
For example, and I'll say this real quick. So when it was cold a couple of weeks ago, I lost 40 miles of range on my battery and a full charge. When I woke up in the morning, I'm like, oh, that's scary. But then when it jumped up to 65 degrees, I got, 75 back. So it's good to know.
And you want to know something?
It's not gone for life. It's just.
You don't hear that.
Yeah.
Typically, right? What you hear is that it's cold, you lose charge. But nobody talks about the charge coming back. Nobody.
No, it came back. Because I was like, it's Christmas. I'm like, wow, it's Christmas.
Yeah, nobody talks about that. So that's why it's so great. The ongoing follow-up, we're all still learning this, right? Even the people that are experts in it, they're still learning this. And the old adage of we don't know what we don't know is so true. But by taking a proactive role in having that conversation regularly, I mean, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody because I can promise you, not everybody has the same focus and dedication that you guys do.
We hope so. It's a goal. Yes.
Wow. Well, we had a couple more things on the list here, but the hour comes really fast.
We'll have to
thank you. I want to thank you so much for coming on here and sharing with us some of the things that you do. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
Bethy?
Well, Paul, just thank you so much for giving Judi and I the opportunity to share. And I would just encourage everyone to support the industry by sharing your story and encouraging your associates to share their story. Because by sharing the reasons that we love this business, we will attract the right talent and we will all continue to thrive and be successful.
Love it.
I love it, Beth. The only thing that I would like to add is at CMA, we like to make sure that our vendors are a culture fit. And so having conversations with you, with John Ellis, with anybody else that's here and moving forward. I love the way everything is moving, where everyone's working together to make this industry better. And so I love that we're all a culture fit together. So
I love that,
So
Judi.
thank you for having us.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to have you ladies back at another time, so we'll have to look at the future dates.
Yes, I would love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And just a couple last questions here, comments. Greg Dudley says, when people feel heard, understood, and coached, will close themselves. He says, great show as always. Thank you. Wayne Bridges, great show. Thank you. So to those that watch live, thank you very much. Thank you for supporting the show every week. To those that watch it on the replay, very much value your dedication to the show. And if you find that there's some information here that might benefit a coworker or somebody that you know at another dealership, by all means, share the show with them. If we are not connected and it makes sense for us to be connected, I welcome a connection request. For me, it has to be somewhat relevant. If I can help you or you can help me, then it makes sense. If you do here, we might not necessarily be a good fit because we don't have that much in common, but I think you know what I mean. Roger Conant says, great work, Paul. Thank you. Phil Spagnoli, great job. Love CMA and Paul's shows. Wow. Thank you. Have a safe and successful week. And we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live. Ladies, stay on after we go off the air.
Okay.